Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss, making decisions my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry It's True podcast. Welcome to the house of and shout out to the members.
Good morning. It's your boy ARP, and we are back with the Sorry It's True podcast. Bright and early once again. I want to appreciate a big shout out to everybody that tuned into yesterday's live. It was very early as well. I see that a lot of people are talking about that one. I see a bunch of comments, a bunch of tweets about that one. So we right back here following up. And this video, this live, this breakdown reaction that I'm about to do, ladies, I need to give a disclaimer. Some of y'all about to have y'all blood boiled. Some of y'all are going to get very upset. Right, you see the title, Diddy's lawyer exposes Cassie. He gave up a lot of angles. He set a lot of tone. And what this trial right here is about to do, I want to welcome everybody back to Tory versus Meg. You want to know why? Different circumstances, of course. But you want to know one thing that trial did? It split a lot of men and women. A lot, not all, but a lot. Yeah, the guys tending to stand with the guy and the women tending to stand with the victim woman. When I watch this lawyer's interview, he's smart, he's sharp, he's prepared. It seems like Diddy's getting his money's worth. And I could see some of the angles that they're already playing. I mean, some of them are right there in front of our face. But boy, oh boy, his subliminals of what's to come. He's going to also rehash, I think, that feeling and that vibe of the fake damsel in distress that was there to just be showered with opportunity and money and gifts and the flashy lifestyle that comes with being around somebody of Diddy's stature. And before I start this video, let me say one more note there. Remember, before the video dropped, there were a lot of people standing on that side of the fence. A lot of people looked at Cassie and said, you're just another woman out here looking to get some money. These civil suits coming out of nowhere, right? You're just another one that now things ain't go your way, or you're not there anymore with it. All of a sudden, hey, give me $50 billion. You know who somebody I had to apologize for that? If y'all remember correctly, Slim Thug. There was a bunch of celebrities coming out and taking that position as well. This lawyer is about to create that all over again. I shit you not.
What prosecutors were arguing is not only does your client pose a flight risk, because obviously he's incredibly wealthy, has access to planes and a lot of staff, even though you said he turned over his passport to you months ago, they were also worried about him being able to interfere with witnesses and calling them. And so I guess the question is, how do you assure the court that that won't happen if prosecutors are saying, this is someone who's attempted to bribe security staff and has already threatened and interfered with witnesses?
So I think the most important thing, even more important than the passport, is that Mr. Combs came to New York on September 5th. As soon as we realized that this indictment was going to be coming down in a matter of weeks, maybe months, but sometime soon, Mr. Combs got on a plane, left his home in Florida, flew to New York. I called the prosecutors myself. I said, Mr. Combs is in New York.
We knew that.
You want to know where he is? If you want to know where he is, I'll tell you where he is. But he wants to surrender. He's here to surrender. They didn't want him to surrender, because if he surrenders, they don't get to tell the judge that he's a flight risk and he's a danger. Because who, as a danger and a flight risk, would fly to New York and surrender? So they didn't want him to surrender.
So since September,
that's interesting right there. That's interesting. Do we want to take that for full value? Because I see a lot of talk going around that also makes a lot of sense. Honestly, the most sense thus far is that his bail was denied because of obstruction of justice, meaning that, justice has its process, court and government have their process. And if you get in the way of that, if you do any witness intimidation, if you try to coerce witnesses, if you try to bribe witnesses, if you try to speak to government witness, all that type of stuff, that's obstruction of justice. Right now, I think there's angles in there like, hey, this person's my friend. I was having a conversation with them, of course. But if you start to have this process that's going on behind the scenes, and then, of course, once you get to the point where you're arrested and then it's time to either deny or invoke bail, right, for Diddy, because you know his lawyers were coming for that. No, but I didn't. I was wrong about that. I was like, he's not sitting in jail until trial. No way is he fighting this case from behind the walls. It's Diddy. He's going to be out. They were compliant. He's not a flight risk. He could have went to Bali a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I was saying all of that. I was wrong because I was sitting on, once again, that he's not a flight risk. That's what they've been trying to show. That's why he went to New York, right? But the obstruction thing is what grabbed him. But what this lawyer just broke down is that, you know, there's also, it goes deeper to me, y'all. Listen. And this is why the Tory and the Meg thing I brought up in the beginning. Perception, vibe, court of public opinion, imagery and messaging into the early jurors that are to come. All of that to me plays a part. So when you got certain headlines, certain statements in the public, even his lawyer right here on CNN doing this interview, it's all tactical. It's all tactical. He's playing on the minds of the court, of the government, of the judge, of the jury. All these people will see this, of the fans, of what's going to make headlines. Will there be an outcry for him? All this type of stuff. So to put this out there and say, no. They didn't want him to surrender because that just creates a look of, oh, I'm so compliant. I'm not going to go against the process. No, they came and grabbed him a day early against his will and his knowing, because it's like, oh no, you're under arrest. The headlines are Diddy arrested. The headlines are not Diddy and his lawyer comfortably and on their own will walk up into the courthouse and surrender. It ain't that. It ain't that like what Max B was able to do. It ain't that. So his lawyer just put that out there. He's playing on shit. And there's a lot of those he's going to do in this video. Smart man, Diddy's getting his money worth with this guy.
September 5th, you had known, you expected it was likely he was going to formally face charges.
So I really knew he was formally going to face charges on March 25th, the day of the searches.
Good morning. Sincerely, Tiff Marie. And shout out to the members, says perception is not facts. 100% agree. But we all know the term perception is reality, right? What people see and perceive, especially if it goes unchecked, especially if it goes unchallenged, especially if you could embed it in a majority amount of people's minds, it becomes reality. That's why perception becoming reality is so dangerous. Why I think people speak out so much. They try to challenge what's going to become people's truth and people's facts. All of the facts of this case on Cassie's side and Diddy's side, we are not going to hear them all. Cassie's lawyer and representatives are not going to tell us all the truth. I'm going to talk more about Cassie as we get through this video. They're not going to tell us all the truth. Diddy and his lawyers are not going to tell us all the truth. They're creating reality from our perceptions. Real shit.
When Homeland Security searched his Los Angeles home, his Miami home, and his airplane, I knew that day by looking at the search warrants. I mean,
this search is airplane? I didn't know that.
This is not my first or 100th rodeo. That this was going to come as a matter of time. What I realized in early September is that it was coming soon. And so it was time for Mr. Combs to come to New York, which he did. And let me just point out one very important thing.
Hold on right there. I know he got a point coming. What's good, pal? Shout out to the members once again, and I appreciate the super. Right now, no. If you would have asked me this 48 hours ago, I would have said yes. I think they're going to put up a fight. Like, of course, it's his life and he's got resources and he got these $1 million lawyers. So, of course, the fight from his defense is coming. But boy, oh boy, some of these angles that we're about to talk about from this lawyer and his legal team cooked today? No. I think they're going to play on some angles. And ladies, y'all are going to be pissed. Fellas, too. A lot of us saw that video and got disgusted. But let me get to it. Let's continue watching this.
The prosecutors are seizing on something that happened 8 years ago. You know, this video that we've all seen, and it's a bad video for Mr. Combs, and he said so himself when he gave his apology. This is 8 years ago, and the prosecutors are talking about him bribing a hotel security worker. There was no criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship that was difficult at times, that was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And this whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well, on that video.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. There's 3 big points there. I'm going to try to remember them all. The first big one there. I'm sorry, y'all. I see it as a haymaker. I see the way that they're going to play the perception of that. It's not, it's this lawyer's placement of the shit that he's saying is so sharp and on point. So sharp and on point. He said this video was from 8 years ago. This is a 10-year relationship. I think I know a little bit of math. That means that y'all was 2 years into your relationship and that shit happened. And then 8 years continue to go and Cassie continues to stay there within the relationship. I'm not coming at Cassie. Ladies, I'm not against y'all. This is what I mean when I say they're going to create a tone and a vibe that's going to split people again. That's going to be like, yo, Cassie, what was you really on? That's the first one I just took from that point. The second one, he's talking about forcing drugs, right? He didn't say that nobody did drugs. He said forced. So what's coming with that? We're going to get into court and Cassie, you know what we're going to do? We're going to sit here and we're going to claim that you're a drug abuser just like everybody else. You sat there comfortably doing it with all of us for 10 years. That's what they're going to paint her as some drug-induced druggie that was doing it within her will. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I know y'all are with me on this.
And that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well, on that video, he initially denied.
In the video, we're in the midst of a 10-year relationship, criminal investigation. This was just a matter of personal embarrassment because he and the person in the video were in the midst of a 10-year relationship. That was difficult at times. That was toxic at times, but it was mutually so. And
that's the third one. Toxic at times, one of our favorite words these days for relationships that just have, I guess, ups and downs. Toxic. We make songs about it. Toxic, right? But was mutual. Boy, oh boy. So they're going to get up there and they're going to say, listen, this video was 8 years ago. What was you on for the following 8 years when y'all was together? Why you stay there? There's another angle that he's going to play in a second that's going to loan to that as well. Let's get there first. Number 2, force no drugs on you. Nobody knock you out and put a needle in your arm. You did consensual drugs like the rest of us, right? Our relationship, it was toxic. We're going to have witnesses on our side too that's going to say the same. Oh, we've already seen it. We've already seen people come forward like, yeah, behind the door or in the car. Y'all seen it. And they was fighting and Cassie punched them and Diddy grabbed her and pushed her door. It was toxic. It was mutual. And let's also tie that into the fact that video, there's no criminal charges, right? Why I'm not charged? Why she ain't go to the police? Why I'm not arrested for assault and battery of Cassie 8 years ago? I know I'm pissing some of y'all off right now. I'm not trying to say where I stand. I'm trying to show y'all what I see he's doing. Oh, they're gonna get up there and call her a druggie that had a toxic relationship. And people, when we be seeing these toxic relationships, who's one? Blueface and Krishan, right? They done made a TV show off of it. This is all new era depictions and what we kind of, I guess, in so many words, unfortunately support, because they turn shit like this into TV shows in today's age. Toxic relationships. Okay. So it's damn near a situation where I feel like people from the outside looking in, women ain't got, girl, you know, but hey, that's what you do. Yo, you still with her. If two people want to be beating on each other and slapping each other and kicking and biting each other for 10 years or whatever, they friends and they people around them tend to say that that's what they do. That's what they want. That's what they like. It ain't like they woke up one day, had an argument, he duffed her in the face and then she got the hell on, or vice versa. No, they stayed there for 10 years doing this shit. So people's going to be like, who am I to tell them? Why should I run to the cops? This is what they do. Why should I tell on Diddy? Why should I tell on Cassie? This is what they do. He's already creating this narrative of that's a toxic ass relationship for 10 years. She did her own consensual drugs. Everything else was mutual. right? And this video 8 years ago, why you ain't get the hell on?
This whole notion that Mr. Combs is forcing drugs on someone is just nonsensical, and it's going to prove to not be true.
Well,
I'm coming to the supers.
He initially denied the allegations when his then girlfriend, who is in that video, filed a lawsuit last fall. And we have that video. I should note, CNN was the first outlet to exclusively.
They're going to talk about that.
He denied that happened when she filed it in a complaint. And then when the video came out is when he apologized for it.
So I wasn't his lawyer back then. So I don't, and I don't think he denied. I mean, I think the lawyers were the ones mostly making the denials. I think they were denying sex crimes. I mean, because at the end of the day, the gravamen of that civil complaint wasn't a misdemeanor assault, which is what you see on that video. Not minimizing it, but it's a misdemeanor assault.
You just did it though. What he just, you know how people be like, I'm not here to make excuses, but I was sick. So, by the time I got on the court, I didn't really warm up the right way. So my jumper was off all night. You did make the excuse. The moment you tell us you were sick, you're trying to put an excuse in our minds, but then you're trying to act like, or at least inducing people that's listening to you that you're not trying to use that. So why you that's what he just did. That's what he just did. He said, I'm not trying to minimize it. So then why did you say it? These are the angles right here. That's like kind of his sentiment. Like, listen, y'all, at the end of the day, what y'all saw in that video, yeah, it's ugly. Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah, I don't co-sign that. But all that was a misdemeanor. Y'all peep? And look, I see in the chat already, y'all are doing what I called out in the in the intro of this video. I don't know if anybody joined late, but I called it out. I see people in the chat saying, come on, ARP, she's 38. Now that video happened when she was 30, insinuating that she's young. Y'all are doing what I said was going to happen in the intro. This video and tones and vibes and what they're going to do at this trial is going to create a divide. And you know what this lawyer is going to do? He's going to pull a whole bunch of men on Diddy's side and paint Cassie as this woman that wanted to hang around the lavish life, hang around him for money, stayed within a toxic relationship where they both physically abused each other, mutually did drugs, mutually participated in these freak-offs. That's what this lawyer is about to do. And there's going to be a bunch of men that they bring with them in that sense that's going to stand over and say, yeah, Cassie, like, you ain't no angel and all this. You just as dirty. We just don't got you on camera. Or maybe we do. I'm telling you, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. Yeah, let the fight begin. I'm telling, I see it. I see the Tory and Meg and Slim Thug gonna fuck around, take his apology back off the table. Watch. You're like, you know what? This is what good lawyers do. I see it coming a mile away. Ladies, y'all about to be pissed off, man. And some of us men too, because we're disgusted at that video. But I see what the lawyer's doing. It's smart and sharp as shit.
What the gravamen of the complaint was sex crimes, and he denied that, and he still does.
Well, and you're saying that this is all just about that one relationship, but when you read through the indictment, they say that there's not just one victim. They say there's multiple victims here today. And what I heard described was they said they have 50 witnesses or victims.
Yeah, I think it's 49 witnesses and one victim. I think if you broke it down, and I say that because count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, has victim number 1, and there is no victim number 2 anywhere in the indictment.
So you're saying that there are not other women, because what they were essentially arguing here is that he coerced and forced women into sex acts by using physical force, financial pressure, emotional abuse, and narcotics for what they described as these freak-off sessions. They're saying that he self-described them as that.
Yeah, there's one victim in the indictment. That's the charging document.
One victim does count, right?
No, of course, but I'm just not. It's not 50. I mean, what they did is a little too cute. It's 50 witnesses or victims. Well, it's one victim. That's all that's in the indictment.
Our reporter who was in the courtroom
today
said that he appeared to have a stunned expression on his face. Was he surprised that he was arrested last night?
No, he definitely was not. I mean, I told him myself in early September, you are going to be arrested soon, and you're going to be charged with racketeering, and you're going to be charged with sex trafficking. So come to New York. It wasn't a long conversation. He agreed. So we knew this was coming. And in fact, we all.
Chat, I see y'all. Be clear. Be clear. And I saw one. Hold on. shout out to Rome King. You know, you starting to look at the landscape the way that I am. You say freak offs are going to be what the men get the men against him, right? Because, and I could see that, because the freak offs hit, they sound a little too wild for the average person, right? They seem to be bisexual. It's 1,000 bottles of baby oil and all that. But Rome King, you having thoughts like that, you're now seeing the landscape like I am, which is, this is why these legal teams and these defendants, like somebody in Diddy's case, they say, oh, this is what's going on. I'm caught up in beating up a woman. Let me get a female lawyer. Oh, I'm a white guy that's being accused of committing a hate crime against a black man. Let me get a black lawyer. Let me get a black witness that's going to co-sign me. You know what I'm saying? It's all these different types of games to play to the public, to the court, to the government, to the judge, to the jury, et cetera, et cetera. This is what this guy is doing, this lawyer is doing in a lot of this video.
Offered that he would turn himself in.
So if there are these witnesses and victims, and as you're saying that you believe it's one victim and 49 witnesses who saw this behavior, that's pretty powerful, though, to have that many people who have, if they go to court and argue that they witnessed this behavior by your client.
Well,
what's your defense against that?
So my defense is very well established. I interviewed myself the different men who were being brought sort of into Mr. Combs and this person's intimate situation. I've flown around the country. I've interviewed a large.
Did y'all hear what he just said? He said, I've been flying around the country. Once again, Diddy getting his money worth with this guy. Flown around the country, interviewed men that have been brought into the sexual situation. They're taking that position. You see videos in the past, you see people joking on Diddy saying, yo, dude, just come out the closet. Just come on out. There's a whole wave out here that you stand up for and move with and everything, whether you're bisexual, whether you're gravitating into being more male preference or whatever sexually. Your business is your business. Your sexuality is your sexuality. Everybody's going to accept you for it. Do what you do, right? He technically just admitted right there. His lawyer. He said, and the men that they're bringing into the situation, unless the stance that you're taking is once again to this title, right, that continues to try to paint Cassie as a real, just as sick person or bad person or drug-induced person or toxic person, by saying, I've interviewed these men that we brought in just to fuck on her. I've interviewed these men. Right? These witnesses that y'all say is a part of the 49. These men that's going to sit there and just be like, oh, Cassie, I came in, she gave me a hug, we shook hands, we drank all day, and we had a great time. We hit the pool and we hit the 50-foot bed in the backyard. I don't even know if that's understating it. That big ass bed in the backyard. We hung out, we went to the movies, we came back to the crib, had some more drinks. We got back to the room. She started rubbing up on me. I looked at Diddy. Diddy was smiling. It looked like he didn't mind that his girlfriend was rubbing up on me. And then, hey, next thing I knew, it was up. And then I looked in the corner. Diddy happened to be recording it. But Cassie was telling me, like, no, this is what we like. Just think, this is what they're going to paint. This is what the man just said in so many words to me. I've interviewed these guys that were brought into these freak offs, these situations. He's flying around the country to do it. And that's another thing, perception wise, society wise, right? You know how there's kind of like a double standard of like a guy, is looked at one way if he's got two women with him, looked at another way if it's one woman and two. Don't mix like two dicks and one. Find yourself a serious, right? Big, right? It's looked at different. It's just society's standards and double standards and all that type of stuff. Whole nother topic. But right here, the man didn't say other women, because of those 49 people, there's no way you're gonna make me believe that they're all men. They better not be. That's even worse for Cassie, right? But let's just say hypothetically, of the 49 witnesses that's in the indictment, let's say some of them are women. He just said the men, because bringing these women in looks a little bit more like a sensitive situation. But letting a man turn you out in front of your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, different optics, different. Why you talk about you flying around the country only and you interviewed the men? He was very adamant right there. None of this shit is going over my head. I'm sorry, y'all.
Number of them. There's not the slightest inkling, according to the interviews that I've done, of anything that's coercive, non-consensual. Nobody was too drunk. Nobody was too high. These were adults in a relation. This is a 10-year relationship.
Again, he's not even straying away from, pay attention to the wording. He's not straying away from the drugs and the stuff that was in the environment. He said not too much. He's admitting everything. He's admitting the men being brought in to fuck on Cassie. He's admitting the freak offs. He's admitting the toxic nature of their relationship. He's admitting the assaults going back and forth. He's admitting these things. But you know what this is like to me? What he's doing? It's like the scene from Devil's Advocate, right? I'm just thinking about this in flight. Y'all tell me if y'all with me. Remember Keanu Reeves playing the lawyer in that opening court scene? And he's got the pedophile, it's like the teacher or something, defendant that he's defending, right? I think the accusation was like the dude that he's defending touched on some little girls. The angle that Keanu Reeves played as the lawyer, he comes into the court and he strips down his own client. Yo, he's a horrible teacher. Yeah, he cheats on his wife. Yeah, he evades his taxes. That's right. Back in the day, we done caught him up on charges for stealing out of the grocery store. But we're not here for none of that. Charges of sex trafficking. And my client actually was in the same business as the prosecution. We were doing that together consensually. It's like trying to avoid the facts plays against you when you got the Cassie video. Right? Because these things are actually in the indictment, punching and kicking and assaulting and throwing objects at people. We've seen it. So now instead of trying to play around it, you grab it. You say, let me own it. Let me own it. But let me tell you why I own it. And let me also show you that she owns it with me. Right? There's no getting around the visual video. So what he just said, even about the drugs, he said not too much. Now I can look at that and be like, come on, man, you're reaching a little bit. But that's his tactics. He's doing it right in front of everybody. Nah, there was some drugs. Yeah, there was some liquor. But nothing that made us do anything against our will. Nothing that made you become more compliant. Yeah, some little smoke, little what up, boom, boom, boom. You want to charge me for that? Put that in an indictment. Me and Cassie sniff coke together. Go ahead, put it in the indictment. Yo. You see what I mean, ladies, about this fucking title? I'm telling y'all.
We can't forget that. This is a 10-year relationship, and it was adults and consensual, and everybody who was there wanted to be there. So I feel very confident in our position.
You said you interviewed the men, but what about the women?
Everybody was there, wanted to be there. They're going to paint that on you. I'm telling you. 8 years after that video, Cassie, what you doing? What you doing there? Watch. He got some more shit that's bad, too. Hold on, y'all.
I haven't interviewed the woman. The woman's not available to me. She's presumably a grand jury witness, and we would not. We cannot try to interview a grand jury witness.
That's the only question right there. He looked like he wasn't fully prepared for. It's the only time he stumbled on his words in this whole interview, ironically.
And you don't think that there are any other women who are going to say that they were coerced into this, given drugs, and essentially as prosecutors were saying that that's what kept them compliant?
So there are a lot of women in these civil cases. There's been a mountain of civil cases ever since the civil case that was filed in November. I don't see them.
I'm not letting them get away with shit. The devil's in the detail with this lawyer. I'm telling you, he's good. It's word placement still. Like, that's tactical to say that. Like, I'm not aware of any of these other. What I am aware of is the civil cases. There's been a mountain, even that word mountain. There's been a mountain of them since November. Those are like two placement words right there in terms. He's trying to say there's been a mountain of these civil that came out after Cassie looking to get some money out of my client. There's no other way to interpret that. We're not stupid. There's been a mountain of civil suits that came out ever since November. But all this other stuff, I don't know nothing about. Diddy's getting his money's worth out of this guy,
as
man.
victims in the indictment. That's my point.
And so when you talk about that
separation
video
of victims
of Cassie Ventura. That was his then girlfriend. In
Let's
the
talk about
video, I mean, just when you saw that, you said it's a bad video. It's pretty difficult to watch.
It is, no question. So let me
Owned
tell
it.
you what
Will
happened.
that be used as
had
evidence in
to.
court, do you think?
100%.
Definitely will.
100%.
We agree.
So what I said in court today, and I'll say it again here, is the two of them were in a hotel. It was just the two of them in a hotel room. She found out that he was seeing someone else. She was going through his phone. She hit him in the head with his own phone. And then she walks into the hallway with two bags. One of the bags has all of his clothing taken from him, which is why he runs out in a towel. So this isn't her fleeing from one of these freak-offs. Why would she take his clothing? That's not what it is. And when the evidence comes out, this is going to be completely different than the government's portrayed it.
But on this,
Yo, he's playing. He is playing. There's a lot to unpack there. So I guess one thing that he's trying to do is embed in our minds that hotel video is not a freak off, right? Because a lot of people are claiming that. And I think that would play very, very well to Cassie's side, her fleeing from a freak off, right? He's saying it's not a freak off. And to be honest, right, as much as I think that Diddy's a piece of shit, let's be clear, people. Y'all see my title. I need to make the point. It's just sorry, it's true. But if anybody's in this chat wondering where I stand, I think Diddy's a piece of shit. Okay? So let's be clear. But as much as Diddy might be a piece of shit to y'all out there in the internet world, watching this case, watching this indictment, watching this all unfold, that wasn't no freak off. And I'll be real, it does look like, at least the visual, I never thought freak off. I just thought like it's him and her in some hotel room. Maybe they rented out the whole floor, whatever. And then whatever happened, produced that video right there, which was disgusting. You know, we don't see a bunch of people coming on camera. It doesn't look like it's like a party or nothing like that. Like when we hear freak off, we think party these days, right? So I don't know. Doesn't mean that they couldn't have had somebody there prior with them. A freak off doesn't mean that it has to be 100 people. For all I know, it could be 3 people, right? I don't know. I've never been in none of these shits. I don't know. But I think that's one picture that he just tried to paint there, if you unpack that last statement. They hit him in the head with the cell phone. Matter of fact, take a step back. They went through his phone and found another woman. I think that's going to loan to his points that he's trying to create of they just had a toxic relationship that was mutual between both of them. They both did things to each other. Went through his phone. What you going through his phone for? Right? Toxic. We hear the Kid Cudi stuff. Are they going to bring that out? Did you or did you not sleep with Kid Cudi? However, they're going to want to paint that, show that they were just cheating on each other, but still staying with each other. Now go to the next statement. You know, threw the phone at his head. That's assault. That's assault. You can get assault charged just for spitting on somebody. That's assault. So right there, he's trying to plant that. Like, she assaulted my client too. Like, ain't nothing like what the fuck Diddy did to her in that fucking hallway. Come on. But it's still his tactic. It's still his angle. The jury still got to hear this. Like, no, she started the physicality. No, she hit him in the head with a phone. Okay, now let's talk about why he ran out in a towel, because that to us looks crazy. That imagery looks ridiculous. Oh, because she stole his clothes. See that bag that she's holding? All his clothes was in there. All he had was a towel. He's running out to get his personal belongings back. It's bullshit. But we see what he's doing, and he's going to bring a bunch of people along with him while he's doing it. Sorry, it's true.
This video, and I just want to show that again now. How do you defend against allegations that he hit, kicked, and dragged women when he's on video hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman?
Sure, he's not charged with hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman. He's charged with sex trafficking, and he didn't traffic anybody.
But he's charged with
smart answer. And he said that shit earlier. If anybody that's joined this live, you know, earlier the whole thing, like, look, I'm not trying to dumb it down, but what you see in that video was a misdemeanor. That's the way he said it, right? He really did try to dumb it down. You really did in that phrase. And then that, we're not talking about assault here. We're not talking about the fight here. This indictment, these charges, is sex trafficking. I need y'all to not pay as much attention to the fact that my client beat up or beat the shit out of Cassie. because that's not what's in the indictment. That's not what we're here arguing for. That's not what you guys are trying to put my client in jail for. You guys are trying to put him down for sex trafficking. Nothing in this video included sex trafficking. I mean, what other angle can they go, right?
A conspiracy here where he was using physical abuse, emotional abuse, financial pressure, as prosecutors allege, to keep these women in his fold. Maybe just Cassie Ventura, but keeping these women in the fold.
Cassie Ventura lived by herself. She had her own house. She had a family. She had a career. And he was seeing another woman at the time. He wasn't around a lot. She could have done whatever she wanted to do. All of these allegations of, I was forced, I was coerced, I had to stay, are nonsense. And it's going to be proven to be so.
This is what stop me if I've lied to you at any point in this video. All we're doing here is just uncovering the tactics of what we see, watching the narratives that's already being built from Diddy's defense. And we're not allowing this lawyer to just do this word placement and key phrases to go over our head. That's all we're really doing in this video, y'all. All right. It's all placed when he sits there and says, she's her own woman. She has her own family. She had her own house, right? We're going to try to paint the picture of this woman wasn't trapped. Once again, this footage came out 8 years ago, but this is a 10-year relationship. This woman wasn't trapped. This woman wasn't tied up in chains in no R. Kelly basement. This person willingly participated in these freak offs, came around, did drugs with me, assaulted me too, hit on me, I hit on her, blah, blah, blah. You know how many times we didn't had gaps in our relationship? There was a gap in I take that from this piece too. There was a gap in our relationship. I started seeing somebody else. You know, we didn't talk for 6 months. She came right back to the abuser. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're gonna paint her as somebody that's also money hungry too. Hence the civil suit. The civil suit. Why you keep coming around somebody that's been beating on you so much if that's what you're trying to portray against my client? Why you around this person for 10 years? He hit you 8 years ago. Why are you around him for 10 years? You got your own house? Because the allegations of your financial and your career pressure, meaning that I'm dangling this over your head like you're nothing without me. But what are they trying to bring out? I don't know if these are facts, right? But okay, that's the perception. You need me, so you got to hang around me. I'm the powerful one. I'm the one that gets your music career popping. I'm the one that can give you a job. I'm the reason why you got somewhere nice to stay, right? And that is pressure. Like you get into the work world and corporate America, all these little pressures, you know, they can get your ass in a lot of trouble. And that's painted from the prosecution side early within this indictment. And then here comes this lawyer. So no, she had her own house. Now, that type of fact, if it's proven, like, no, that mortgage is in her name. She has her own place to be. Matter of fact, that's where she was for the 6 months when we wasn't even talking and when we were separated because of both of us cheating on each other, whatever. I'm just warning y'all. That's all I'm doing. The angles that they're going to play is going to expose Cassie to have a horrible image. Whether they're true or not, she's the primary witness. She's the only person named out of the 50 people, right? They're saying that she's the star witness. She's the primary person. She's the primary victim. They are going to attempt to strip her down and force a lot of people, including that jury, to look at Cassie with the same disgusting eyes that y'all look at Diddy with. I don't think that she deserves that at all. But that is what they're about to play. If y'all don't see that coming, y'all crazy.
Video in the indictment, it alleges that your client paid hotel staff $50,000 to make it disappear from the hotel surveillance system. Did he pay off the hotel staff?
Not that I know of. I know that's an allegation. I don't know that is true.
I don't like that. Of most of his answers, 99% of his answers, we've seen him stumble up on one that he wasn't really prepared for. But of all his other questions and answers, he's been very sharp and very prepared. And he's been doing very, very good with placement, as if he knew, like, right here, I'm going to plant this seed. Right there, I'm going to plant that seed when that comes up. I don't like the way he answers this. I understand he may not have been Diddy's lawyer at the time, but it doesn't matter if you're the lawyer at the time. You come up to speed. You've been with Diddy for months at this point. Like you said, you're flying around the country interviewing these guys and these witnesses and whatnot, right? So you come up to speed. There's certain things that your client should be telling you by now to prepare for. And then you got that attorney-client privilege, where it's just like anything that we say between us could never go anywhere. Attorney-client privilege, right? So I don't like the way he answered that. After all that prep, after all that time around Diddy, after all the investigation that you've done, you and the other resources tied to your legal team, still the only answer that you have is, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. I wasn't around for that. I'm not aware of that. When it comes to, did you pay somebody off? It seems like that's the best answer that you can give if you possibly believe that it's true. And you can't be on record early on before that truth comes out, taking such a stern position that's not true about my client. Because everything else he takes very stern, very sharp, very precise stance that he takes. That right there, that could come up. Because when we start talking about things like obstruction of justice, which is why his damn bail was denied, when we start painting Diddy as a person that is out here doing all types of witness threatening and intimidation and whatnot, and using his resources to be that type of guy, right? Even that is obstructing justice to a degree. No, because I know you try to dumb it down and say that's only a misdemeanor, but what if somebody wanted to chase down that misdemeanor? Maybe if that's the reason why no charges were brought your way, because they went there and they looked for the evidence and it was gone. So they had nowhere to go. And it was just like, we walked away, right? So if it's proven that, no, that tape, got misplaced because your man went and paid for it, boom, boom, that's a big piece. If you listen to what I just said for the last 2 minutes, it puts all that against Diddy as far as his image and what he looks like he's out here doing. So his answer to that, it wasn't good enough, right? And it seems like they're being careful about that. That witness steps forward like, hey, I'm the one that he gave, $50,000 to get rid of that tape. Now, is that person willing to put himself in the line of fire, walk around with his face known, his name known as being this is going to be the biggest case this year, right? So do you really want to, this is bigger than the YSL trial to me. Like, it's Diddy. Like, is this something that you want to have your name and your face attached to forever? You're walking in and out of the supermarket and then, hey, there goes the guy that Diddy bought the tape off from the hotel. No, right? But the lawyer still played it close. Like, I don't know nothing about that. Because the last thing you want to do as a lawyer is take such a stern position on something and then 2 months from now come out looking like a liar. Now my lawyer doesn't have credibility. It's one thing for my client, but my lawyer doesn't have credibility. Yeah, I don't like the way you answered that one, dude.
What I was concerned about when I heard about this allegation is whether there was an allegation that there was some sort of law enforcement investigation pending, because then that would be a crime. But there was none. And so this is not a crime.
You said
he tried to go to the higher piece of it. It's just like, all I know is that it ain't no crime because there wasn't no charges. That's all I know. He's crazy, but he's good.
You're portraying this as adults who were at these events that wanted to be, I shouldn't even call them events. That's not certainly how anyone else would label it.
Oh, shots fired. She snuck a shot in for the women.
But they also alleged that they were recorded and essentially used as blackmail. Is that not true?
That's not true. That's not true.
How can you prove that when they have electronic evidence that, as they argue, over 90 cell phones, laptops, iCloud storage accounts, 30 electronic and storage devices, hard drives, thumb drives? Yeah. You're not worried about that?
Let me answer that before he even gives an answer of how do you prove that? How do you prove that all these electronic recordings and devices and whatnot was not used for blackmail? Having the footage and having the devices, I don't think to me proves the blackmail. I think it's the actions that happen with the actual devices and the footage that proves out the blackmail. So you need somebody to come forward and say, I did this or I did not do this because Diddy had this and this is what would have happened to me if I would have did X, Y, Z. That's your typical blackmail, right? Diddy said, if you try to get out of my record deal, right, I'm going to release your tapes. So I continued to record underneath his company for the next 2 years, and it ruined my fucking career. Blackmail, right? You need the people to speak and sometimes even prove. But even if they don't prove, these witnesses get up there and they still create these narratives and these storylines for the jury to go back and deliberate over when we get to the end. That's how it goes, right? So having this stuff doesn't prove blackmail. So what angle are they going to play as to, okay, then just answer to me, why does Diddy have all of this? I guess the easiest thing to play is it's security. Diddy is this mega mogul billionaire. This is his house, and he does enjoy the company of socializing, aka freak offs. And at any given time, he could have 1,000 people at his house. How do you watch all that? With 1,000 security guards? No. We just put 1,000,000 eyes in the sky. I guess that's the easiest narrative to play. Nobody's gonna really believe it though, because I guess the places that you have the cameras and the retention of like, okay, why do you have this celebrity right here, fucking on this prostitute on the couch, filed away in the safe as LeBron's Christmas 2019. Like, what's that? Why? Why you? Oh, now that becomes so y'all got to play that a certain way. I'm damn sure not on his defense, and nor am I trying to be. I'm just looking for rational answers as to what those tapes will mean and how you could prove that they're part of blackmail or not.
No, because if they had it, they would have put it in the indictment. And it's not in the indictment.
When it comes to your client's
Shots fired.
credibility, I think people will look at what he said last fall. And it's not just his attorneys. I mean, he pays those attorneys. They're speaking on his behalf. They're the ones calling her claims baseless and ridiculous. And when you read the indictment today, they line up with what she alleged in that lawsuit last fall.
If the claim is that he had unwanted sex with her, that claim is baseless. And it will be proven to be baseless when we have a trial.
Duh.
But the claim is obviously the conspiracy, the racketeering. It's much larger than just that, obviously, as you know.
It is, but the government wants it to be. But count 2, which is the sex trafficking count, relates to one person and one person alone. All of this talk of dozens of victims and 50 witnesses, if they had that, if they really had it, it would be in the indictment. Someone else.
If they really had that, it would have been in the indictment. Let's not act like new stuff can't come in, but I think the reason why he would take that public position is just a guess, because the raids were in March. Here we are closing out September. I think he's confident, and of course he's speaking to Diddy. They're gathering information. They're putting money in the street, figuring stuff out all these previous months, knowing that this is coming. I think he's confident. He has to be, or you have to pick a way to stand that you're walking into all this, right? It's like, yo, we gotta figure out the position that we're gonna take. Period. He's got to be very, very confident that when we talk about sex trafficking, there's no people that's going to come into play other than Cassie being somebody who's also slept with these people that were brought in. And if they are brought in, these sex traffickers, because earlier he just said the men, if they are brought in, they're all going to be brought in to just say that it was consensual. Diddy was with it. Cassie was with it. Yeah, there was some drugs and some liquor in the arena, but not too much that would make you non-compliant. He said that earlier in his interview here, right? So he's taking a confident position there. He didn't want to take that confident of a position with the tape. Like, did he pay for the tape? He didn't want to take that confident a position there. You know what I'm saying? But boy, oh boy, like, as long as y'all see what I see, then we good money. Shout out to POW, my man Powell once again. Yes, I did answer that earlier. DJ, come on, man. On the D-Low. Come on, man. Like, what's up with your name? Appreciate the raw, unvarnished commentary. I appreciate you for appreciating it. This is the Sorry It's True podcast, and I will stay true to that. And the very first thing that y'all see in my videos when they start is a disclaimer that says facts, yes. Opinions, yes. Lies, no. Right? I don't have all the facts in the world. I could put together things pretty well. I'm I'm a little sharp at times, but you guys will know the difference between an opinion that I have logic backing it versus something that I'm presenting as a fact and that I can prove. Everything else, let's take as discussion because I'm never going to get up here and say a lie. And anybody that joined this stream later on, I gave a big disclaimer early on that I'm going to be unfiltered in what I'm interpreting from this attorney's interview because it's the type of stuff that could make you upset if you hear. Especially the women. It's going to be a sensitive thing. Cassie is going to be targeted times 100. She's going to be exposed. She's already being pre-exposed in this interview. They're going to drag her down, and that's their main defense. It makes sense for them to try that and for them to do that. And in doing so, the pictures that they paint of Cassidy is going to divide people once again, similar to the Tory and the Meg shit, where you got the men standing with the men and the women standing with the women. Watch. I'm calling it now. SJS, I appreciate you. The prosecution would be making a huge mistake if they hang their hat on the Cassie relationship and have no other victims. This lawyer is good enough to discredit that one angle. You're agreeing with me. Shout out to my members on the channel as well. You're agreeing with me. That's my whole point here. The way that they already are and will continue to, in detail and possibly even in graphic nature, attack Cassie. Cassie is going to, and she got a family and a husband right now. Cassie is going to look crazy. I seen a video of her skating out of some spot and running into a truck, ducking paparazzi. It's going to be turned up for her. Her walking around is about to be turned up for her. People going to be looking Diddy supporters and it's going to be up for her. And I agree. If I'm going after Diddy, I do want more than being able to say like, these toxic drug abusers, sex freaks were together doing this for 10 years, hitting on each other, cheating on each other, freaking on each other, doing all that for 10 years. Separations, makeups to breakups. Cassie had her own place and all that for 10 years. And we got witnesses taking account of that. Oh, this time I seen my own eye. Cassie done beat on Diddy and Diddy walked away. All of that. If I'm the prosecution, I want more than Cassie as well, which makes me think, beg to differ, maybe that's the reason why the other day they was out there saying, hey, here's our phone number, contact us, bring more information forward. Because it's going to be a war on both sides, the prosecution and the defense. It's a war. Anybody that thought that this was signed and sealed, I think you're wrong. And that's why earlier I said, anybody that says you think Diddy's cooked, not yet. Not yet. Anybody that's counting Diddy out is too early. Should he be counted out? I seen a video, and like I said earlier, I think Diddy's a piece of shit. But just legally, as far as how, take me out of it. Fuck my opinion. What's going to happen? Is he counted out? No, he's not. Cardi B publicly admitted to drugging and getting men assaulted and set up. Is she going to be charged with any crimes from the past? Somebody has to go in, walk in, and put the claim in. Somebody's got to accuse her. Just because I come out and say, I'm lying, I'm making this up for the point. I shot somebody, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got to be tied to something. Like G Depp told on himself, right? But when he walked in there and he told on himself, that was able to be linked to a case that was never closed, right? That's just how that goes. So Cardi, she could just be talking the talk, or she could be telling the truth, or she could be playing the middle of it. Saying shit like that is disgusting and it's stupid. And you would think morally that's the type of stuff that you get canceled over, right? But I guess Cardi B, as big of an artist as she is, she's able to say that or rap that type of shit, and everybody, it's all good. Now she got charged with something. How would y'all feel? Right? That's actually disgusting behavior and disgusting for her to be able to say that and it just be okay. Where's the outrage for that? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know about that one, but shout out to Cash, man. Shout out to my members. Al Capone, the homie on the channel, appreciate the super, said there's just so much in this case. Everybody is going to be divided. I'm telling y'all, I warned y'all. I'm warning y'all. Domestic violence, freakish, guns with no serials, drugs. It's all over the place. If y'all think that this is just going to be, hey, we saw Diddy hitting on Cassie in the hallway, let's close this up. Psst, you got to be kidding me. You listen to this lawyer in the background? You got to be kidding me. He is not cooked yet. He is not. And the last super we got up here, we got P Cash. Says, what you saying is the problem. You can't protect no one in court. Where be someone's life is on the line. Let's not act brand new. Like, this is the court system we're talking about. The court system gets very, very dirty. The court system is wrong at times. The court system is biased at times. We fear walking into court. Many of us. We don't know how it's going to go, right? Like, when you say what I'm saying is the problem, this is what these people are hired to do, okay? Jeffrey Dahmer had a lawyer. They found shit in his fridge. They found an acid tub bat in his apartment, right? Somebody still represented him to defend him, right? To a degree, right? Whether you're trying to get a lesser charge or whether you're trying to say, oh, that's not his acid. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody is entitled to defense, and everybody, not 99% of the time, is going to have some type of defense. Unless they just want to take a plea and say, yo, I'm getting out of here. Yo, y'all got everything red-handed. I said a bunch of times in stream, I think Diddy is a piece of shit. This man has $2 to $3 million per month lawyers on this case, and they're going to defend the shit out of him. So you can't just call that the problem. This is what happens when you live in a country that has government, and there's laws of the land and due process and court process and court proceedings. This is what happens. Everybody is corruptible. Everybody is just, could be right, could be wrong. There's lies, there's preference, there's bias. There's all of that. So if you want to go after it, you got to go after this country, and you got to go after the systemic level of everything. Fuck what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just repeating of what's we all live in. Just so happens that it's a very, very public occurrence because of Diddy. But this type of shit happens every day, B. You know what I'm saying? So I respect you saying that, but you know, there's a higher level to all of it. So I appreciate everybody tuned in this morning on this lovely Friday. I might be back here later. I have two people that acting like they want to come get in a hot seat with your boy today, and they're very, very big big guests. We'll see how that plays out. You guys will see the stream start up, and my Twitter. I'll send a tweet out and everything if we lock in the times and everything. But yeah, I got a lot of content already set on private that I need to release, some members only content as well on the channel. So please stay subscribed and keep your notifications on. We super active over here. It's the Sorry It's True podcast, y'all. I appreciate y'all. We'll be back in a second.